Level 1. The call you can't ignore. The call comes at 2:13 a.m. You don't recognize the number. You answer anyway. Get dressed, the voice says. 10 minutes. You almost hang up. Then they say your name, your address, the amount sitting in your bank account down to the last decimal. They mention a mistake you made 2 years ago, one that never made it into any official record. You don't ask how they know. You already know what that means. You get dressed. The car is waiting outside. Black. Engine running. No driver visible until you're already in the back seat. The doors lock automatically. No one explains anything. You're taken to a building that doesn't exist on any map you've ever seen. No signage, no security guards, no visible cameras. But you feel watched. Inside, they don't interview you. They evaluate you. You sit across from a man who doesn't introduce himself. He slides a file across the table. Inside are images, timestamps, locations, mistakes, patterns, your patterns. You see things other people miss, he says, and more importantly, you don't talk about them. You don't respond. Good, he says. You start tonight. There's no contract, no badge, no confirmation this is real. Just instructions. You leave with a phone that has one contact saved and a rule that's repeated twice. If anyone asks, this never happened. That's when you understand. You haven't been hired. You've been absorbed. Level 2. The invisible intern. You don't carry a weapon. You don't give orders. You don't even know what the organization is called. At this level, you exist to observe. You sit in rooms you shouldn't have access to. Government briefings, corporate war meetings, private security discussions behind locked doors. No one questions why you're there, because your presence is arranged before you arrive. You don't ask how. Your job is simple. Listen, record, report. You track patterns across systems that aren't supposed to connect. Military movement that aligns with corporate acquisitions. Political decisions that mirror financial shifts days before they're announced. At first, it feels like analysis. Then it starts to feel like surveillance. Then something else. Control. You send your reports through encrypted channels. No replies, no feedback, just silence. Until one day, a pattern you flagged disappears. Not the beta, the person behind it. A logistics officer you traced across 3 countries, gone. No record of resignation, no trace of travel, just gone. You check again, triple check. It's real. You sit there staring at your screen longer than you should, because for the first time you understand what your information does. You don't pull triggers, but you point them, and something out there pulls them for you. That realization sits heavy. You consider stopping, but then another message comes through. Good work. 2 words, no signature, no emotion, but it's enough. You keep going. Level 3. The facilitator. You're given access. Not full access, but enough to change things. You're no longer just identifying patterns, you're shaping them. Small adjustments at first, a delayed shipment here, a rerouted communication there, a meeting that gets canceled because someone suddenly can't make it. You don't know why these changes matter. You don't need to. You follow instructions. And then you start noticing the outcomes. A deal collapses. A company loses billions overnight. A political figure withdraws from a race without explanation. Everything you touch creates ripple effects. You're not just watching the system, you're inside it. And the system listens. You begin to understand the rules. No unnecessary actions, no emotional decisions. Everything must serve a purpose, efficiency over everything. You're introduced to others like you, not directly. You see their work, recognize their patterns. You never meet, because meetings create connections. Connections create risk. Risk gets removed. You adapt quickly, faster than most. That's why you're promoted. Not officially. There are no titles, but your instructions change, your scope expands, and your decisions start to carry weight. Real weight. The kind that keeps you awake at night, at least at first.
Level 4. The operator. You receive your first direct order. Not a suggestion, not an adjustment, an outcome. This person needs to be removed. No explanation, just a file. Name, routine, weak points. You stare at it longer than you should, because this is different. This is direct. You hesitate. Then you remember the man who disappeared. You remember the message. Good work. You understand what happens if you fail, or worse, if you refuse. You don't carry it out yourself. You're not that person, but you find someone who is. That's the real job. Identifying the right tool, the right person, at the right time. You build a chain, 3 layers between you and the action. Each one knows only what they need to, nothing more. The operation is clean, efficient, untraceable. The target dies in a way that doesn't raise immediate suspicion. An accident, a failure, something plausible. You watch the aftermath closely. No investigations lead anywhere. No connections form. It works. That's the moment something shifts inside you, because it's no longer abstract. It's real, and you made it happen. You tell yourself it was necessary, that there's a larger system at play, that you're just part of it. That's how you sleep, eventually.
Level 5. The architect. You stop following instructions. You start creating them. You're given control over operations across regions, multiple teams, multiple targets, multiple outcomes running simultaneously. You don't manage people. You manage systems. You design structures that function without you. Cutouts, intermediaries, fail-safes. Every action fragmented into pieces too small to matter alone, but together, precision. You control budgets now, 7 figures moving through channels that don't officially exist. None of it touches your name, none of it can be traced back. You build networks that recruit without revealing who they're recruiting for. Operators who never meet clients, clients who never meet operators. Everything separated, everything clean. You refine the rules. No patterns, no repetition, no emotional involvement. Mistakes are analyzed, then erased, sometimes permanently. You begin to understand the real currency here. Not money, not violence, information, and control over how it moves. You're respected now, not publicly, but within the system. Your decisions carry weight beyond individual operations. They shape the network itself. That's power. But it comes with something else. Distance. You don't see faces anymore, just data, profiles, outcomes. It makes things easier. It also makes them colder.
Level 6. The director. You stop thinking in operations. You think in consequences. Every decision branches into 10 others. Every action creates variables you have to account for. You're no longer reacting. You're anticipating. You oversee entire regions now. Governments shift. Markets move. Conflicts start and end based on decisions that pass through you. You don't just remove people. You influence events. Quietly. Precisely. You're given authority to reject clients. That's when you realize where you stand. You're not beneath the system anymore. You are part of its control structure. Clients don't like being told no, but they accept it because you protect them from exposure, from mistakes, from themselves. You start seeing the bigger picture. This isn't random. It's organized chaos, maintained balance. Too much disruption draws attention.
Too little creates stagnation. You manage that balance. That's your role. But power changes things. People inside the system start testing boundaries, small deviations, unauthorized decisions. You notice. You always notice. And you deal with it. Quietly. Efficiently. No announcements. No warnings. Just removal. You justify it the same way you justify everything else. Necessary.
Level 7. The controller. You stop being visible, even within the system. Most don't know you exist. They know your decisions, your patterns, your influence, but not you. You operate through layers so deep no one can trace them completely, not even you sometimes. That's intentional, redundancy, protection. If one part fails, the rest continues. You've built something that doesn't depend on you. That should feel like freedom. It doesn't, because it also means you can be replaced. That's the paradox. The more powerful you become, the less secure you feel. You start seeing threats everywhere. Not paranoia, pattern recognition. You notice shifts in behavior, subtle changes in how instructions are followed. Someone is learning your system, adapting to it, maybe even replicating it. You trace it carefully, slowly, because rushing creates mistakes, and mistakes expose you. You find fragments, decisions that didn't come from you, small ones, but consistent. That's how it starts. You've seen it before. You've built it before. A system within a system. Someone is rising, just like you did. The realization doesn't scare you. It clarifies things. There's only one rule at this level. Stay in control or be removed.
Level 8. The ghost at the top. You don't take meetings anymore. You don't give direct orders. You don't even use the same channels twice. You exist above the system and inside it at the same time. Everything flows through structures you created, but you no longer touch them directly. Too risky, too visible. You spend most of your time analyzing, watching, waiting. The system runs, operations execute, clients submit requests, and you decide which ones matter. Not based on money, not based on power, but based on stability. You're not building anymore, you're maintaining, and that's harder, because everything wants to change, everything wants to evolve, including the people inside it. You think about the first call sometimes, how simple it felt, how clear. Now everything is layered, complicated, heavy. You have more control than anyone and less freedom than ever because you can't leave. Not really. There's no exit, only absence. And absence gets noticed. You've seen what happens to things that get noticed. You sit in silence more often now. No messages, no movement, just observation. That's where you see it clearly. The shift. Someone has finished building their own path through your system, carefully, patiently, just like you did. You don't act immediately. You don't panic. You watch. Because this is the final rule. Every system creates its successor, even yours, especially yours. And somewhere, in a room that doesn't officially exist, a phone rings at 2:13 a.m. Someone hesitates before answering. You already know what happens next. They think it's an opportunity. They think they have a choice. They don't. They're level 1, just like you were, and they have no idea what they're becoming. But you do, because you built it.